penultimate weekend of the Nigeria Premier Football League is upon us. And of course, we'll get to see Remo Stars being crowned champions right there in Ikene. But of course, there's still a whole lot more at stake. While Remo Stars host Ikorodu City to celebrate the title, the race for Continental sports and survival remains intense. Rivers United lead the charge for the second CAF Champions League spot, with Ikorodu City, Abia Warriors and Enyimba vying for the final slot. Relegated Lobi Stars are joined by Sunshine Stars, Akwa United, Niger Tornadoes and Heartland in a fierce fight to avoid the drop. Key fixtures include Sunshine Stars versus Niger Tornadoes, Akwa United's last chance against Akwa United, and Abia Warriors a clash with El-Kanemi Warriors. Now we have joining us, of course, to talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. Alongside Okwe Adebari, we've got Pius Ahamba. Thank you very much, Pius, for joining the show today. And it's amazing to see that you're donning a Lobi Stars jersey. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yes, concerning the jersey, it's one of the collections. It doesn't really matter. It's just a jersey at the end of the day. So yeah.
All right. Looking forward to today in the Ikene. I mean, starting off with Remo Stars, they'll be crowned champions. You know, initially the NPFL said, look, they have to move the time of the match from 4 p.m. to 3 p.m. And I questioned that, but later on they said all the games will be played simultaneously by 3 p.m. But it has to be a beautiful sight to behold, seeing two sides who have really given us what football should look like in the Nigeria Premier Football League play one of the pivotal games this season, where Remo Stars will be crowned champions in the NPFL.
Yeah, of course, and a big story for Remo Stars, looking at where they are coming from. I mean, in front of their fans today, they will be lifting the trophy. I recall many years ago when they gained promotion to this same league alongside MFMFC and a couple of other teams that year. They didn't look like they were prepared. They went back and then they've been grinding, and now they are here. It's a beautiful story for private-owned clubs in Nigeria Premier Football League, even though I don't think we have a lot of guys who are really interested in building what Kunle Shoname has built right there in Ikene. Apart from the fact that he has built a beautiful edifice right there for the stadium in Ikene, he has also managed to connect the team to the town, talking about Ikene, Shagamu, Odelewu, and the environment everywhere is been able to connect the communities around Ikene to that particular team, and that's why for a lot of us who actually were born in Ogun State, of course, grew up in Shagamu, we can easily connect to that team. This is not me saying because of what he has done. I mean, he's quite partly the first, because we've seen a couple of other private school clubs in Ogun State who were unable to connect to the community. They just, establish a club and thought it was going to run that way. But Kunle Shoname did something different, something away from the ordinary. Apart from the fact that he has also done for the men, the ladies also are doing something similar there in the Super Six right now. So I think it's a beautiful story for Remo Stars, a beautiful story for Ikene, and of course a beautiful story for Ogun State at large.
Right, okay, I'll come to you now. Looking at how well Remo Stars and Ikorodu City have done in this Nigeria Premier Football League, do you think that in a short while we'll get to see privately owned clubs maybe get promoted to the NPFL, and one way or the other knock out the government-owned clubs? Maybe we'll have the private-owned clubs playing amongst the top 5 in the NPFL.
It's not a guarantee, Udoka, because in the past we've seen privately owned clubs in the NPFL, or rather, we've seen privately owned clubs get promoted to the NPFL, they don't survive, and then eventually they just fizzle out. You know, I think Vandreza FC is a good example. MFM is also another example as well. You know, some clubs just come and they fizzle out because they're not able to stand the test of time. They're not able to sometimes they're not just even able to compete football-wise, as we've seen from some of these teams. We saw the way Sporting Lagos made their way into the NPFL last season, and sadly, despite some exciting football that we saw from them at the beginning of the season, they got relegated, and they're back to square one again. So, first of all, it's Remo Stars, winning the NPFL this season has been the result of, should I say, a 10-year journey. Honestly, I think that's just the truth. Ikorodu United is doing well so far, definitely, for a team team that we thought was just going to be trying to survive relegation this season, they have shown that they have what it takes to play in the NPFL, and I think they've also been able to debunk the rumors of new manager bounce because the season has well matured as well. But I think the good thing, or rather the comparison between Remo Stars and Ikorodu City is that, you know, they've got owners who first of all understand football and those who want to invest in football long term. So it's not just about a short-term fix. It's not just about a gets-rich-quick syndrome. It's about passion, and it's about a long-term project. And Remo Stars have gotten to a phase whereby they are ripe enough to win a championship, and we've seen that happen with them. Ikorodu City, if they continue in this, in this manner, they would one day be in this situation where Remo Stars are being crowned champions as well. So it's one thing to have private owners, but it's another thing for you to have owners who would be willing to be patient before the championships start rolling in.
All right, Pius, looking at Remo Stars, I just checked their stats now on X, because in 2022, they finished third. 2023, they finished second. 2024, they finished second. 2025, they finished first. In as much as this can be a source of inspiration for Arsenal fans, but let's also look at the fact that they've been consistent over the years in the Nigeria Premier Football League.
Yeah, they've been consistent, but before they started even finishing second, third, if you cast the match back to as far back as 2016, when they got promoted the first time, they got relegated twice before they came back and of course started doing so well. I think it will be a good, like you rightly mentioned, it probably will be an inspiration. I don't want to talk about us now. An inspiration for other private-owned clubs.
Yeah.
I'm looking at other private-owned clubs because before my very eyes, I've seen a couple of private-owned clubs who have come to the league. A couple of them, my colleague has just mentioned. But if you take a look at the likes of Giwa FC, Enyimba, I remember when Enyimba won the Federation's Cup right there in Lagos. I thought Enyimba were going to, be that team we always wanted to see. That private-owned club that would do something very spectacular in the Nigeria Premier Football League. But if Enyimba took another route entirely, instead of looking at the grassroots, of course, starting from the grassroots, they started from the top, started pumping money, getting foreign players, buying a couple of star players. Yes, they were able to win the Federation's Cup, but after then, what happened? They went down. But Remo Stars, on the other hand, didn't do all of those buying big players. They started from the grassroots. Some of the players who are still in the team currently, they're from the grassroots. Players like according to those, started from the grassroots, and they're still with the team. Unduka Junior, the captain, has always been with them, and we have seen what they are doing with Beyond Limits right now. That is how to build a proper football culture. Not just coming to Giwa FC, the same thing. When Giwa FC came into the league, they were also, what they do is they buy slots from the NNL, comes to the NPFL, start pumping money, buying big players, and then you go to the continent and you're able to do anything. The same thing, MFM FC, like my colleague also mentioned. MFM FC also came, yes, they came with a couple of young boys from the NNL, but at the end of the day, they went to the NPFL, they were able to sustain it, the football culture wasn't there, and they went down. The only team that is really close to Remo Stars right now, with due respect to Ikorodu City, the only team with that is very close to what Remo Stars are doing right now comes to be Sporting Lagos. Because if there is no how you can sustain yourself in the Nigeria Premier Football League without building facilities, which is very important. Unfortunately for Sporting Lagos, what they were building in Lagos was unfortunately wiped away because of the Coastal Bridge. But right now, I think they are coming back together. So Sporting Lagos seems to me like that team who can actually match, because their story is similar to Remo Stars' story. They also came and of course got relegated. Hopefully I see them back in the Premier League, and hopefully they're able to finish their stadium, and then we can see something similar to what Remo Stars is doing. I want to see a lot of this thing. Ikorodu City, like I mentioned, with due respect to them, they are doing so well, but I think they are also doing this fire brigade approach. Yes, they have the Ikorodu City Academy right now. Let's say it goes for them. But for me, personally, I'm really, really happy for Remo Stars. The investment it has finally paid off. I really hope to see them do well on the continent, because that's the next stage we are looking at. Apart from conquering the Nigeria Premier Football League, how do you want to represent Nigeria on the continent? Over the years, Enyimba United have been bailing us out. But right now, I want to see another team who will challenge the other guys. Because if you are doing well structurally in the Nigeria Premier Football League, why can't you compete very well with the other teams on the continent? So for me, again, it's a very beautiful story. Unfortunately, I will not even be in Kenya, because I would have loved to witness them live their first trophy. But yes, we are supporting them from wherever we are. and of course, wish them all the very best.
Wishing them all the very best. Alongside the Remo Stars ladies as well, doing well in the NPFL Super 6 right there in Ikene. Now let's take a look at the fixtures of games to go down today. Abia Warriors will take on El-Kanemi Warriors, Akwa United versus Bayelsa United, Better Insurance versus Heartland FC, Enugu Rangers will take on Katsina United, Kano Pillars versus Shooting Stars, Kwara United up against Rivers United, Nasarawa United versus Enyimba. There's also the game between Plateau United and already relegated Lobi Stars. Sunshine Stars will take on Niger Tornadoes. Pirates, there's still a chance for the teams in the relegation zone, not Lobi Stars now, they are done and dusted, but there are teams in the relegation zone that can still survive relegation this season, depending on how they perform in the remaining games in the NPFL.
Yeah, of course, there's a chance for the teams in the relegation zone. I worry for Akwa United. Unfortunately, I don't see how they would scale through this particular one. Their last game is away to Heartland. That's the last game, talking about Akwa United. It's a serious situation for Akwa United because if you look at a team who won the league a few seasons ago, and right now they look like they might be getting relegated, I don't think Sunshine Stars will escape this particular one. They have actually tried to rediscover their form very, very, very late. I think they will be going down. Niger Tornadoes have actually done enough to stay up, in my opinion, because also they started, gaining results here and there. Heartland also look like a team that, like I mentioned in one of the shows, I don't see Heartland. I can't just wrap my head around Heartland going down to relegation zone because everything that happened at the beginning of the season is still fresh in my memory. How Amunike was unveiled, what Governor Opuzodima told him, how they recruited a mid-season. Everything is still fresh, and I don't see that team with going down, to be fair. So it looks like the relegation is done and dusted. I think the table will remain as it is right now, unfortunately, for Akwa United at the end of the season.
All right, I will see how the games will go down today because some of these teams will face themselves today in the fixtures of the NPFL, and it will remain one more game. So we'll see how the Battle Royale would end in the Nigeria Premier Football League. I'd say thank you very much, Pius, for joining us. We look forward to having you yet again for more conversations surrounding the NPFL right here on the show. Thank you for joining.
Well, always a pleasure, and hopefully Abia Warriors is also able to clinch the top spot because that will be another good story in Nigeria Premier Football League.
Definitely, another good story in Nigeria Premier Football League.